why did you chapa?
Traveling was strategic. It was an opportunity to learn. Being in Nigeria and doing business in Nigeria showed me a perspective. But moving abroad, I saw a new perspective to how businesses are being run. Traveling out of the country is not just for luxury. There is no education that is better than it. The adventure changes your world entirely.
You find people doing so well in Nigeria and then they relocate for some of these reasons and then probably are not hearing anything about them anymore. Why do you think that many high-performing Nigerians basically experience that after they relocate?
Most of these people, they didn't build systems. They allowed the environment to choke them because there are 4 basic intelligences you need to thrive as an immigrant. But let's first address why they leave and it looks as if they no longer look relevant. They've not built systems around the things they do. And the countries they are moving to, they are fast paced. So before you know it, while they are struggling to catch up with the demand of that new country they've moved into, they will lose touch totally with Nigeria. Now let's talk about the 4 intelligences that people need. The first one is,
you find people doing so well, in Nigeria, and then of course they relocate for some of these reasons. And then same people or the same person who was doing really well in terms of impact, you realize that probably are not hearing anything about them anymore, or they've probably gone into what people call oblivion. So why do you think that many high-performing Nigerians basically experience that after they relocate?
wow, I've taken time to study the trend and I observe most of these people built everything around them. Yeah, they didn't build systems. Some of them even taught it. You see them teaching about systems. But in the real sense, they did not build systems. I wouldn't say they lost the big picture. I told you about the importance of big picture. They still had it in mind, but they allowed the environment choke them. I would still talk about that environment because there are 4 basic intelligences you need to thrive as an immigrant in any environment. And that's why, by privilege, I'm in that environment and I'm beginning to replicate what I did in Africa in that same environment because of these 4 intelligences. But let's first address why they leave and it looks as if they no longer look relevant. Like the impact, just started diminishing. They've not built systems around the things they do. And the countries they are moving to, they are fast-paced moving countries, such that nothing waits for you. Your bill, as you are sleeping and waking up, there are bills to pay. And nobody comes to support you. You don't get free lunch anywhere. So before you know it, while they are struggling to catch up with the demand of that new country they've moved into, they will lose touch totally with Nigeria. And some of the things they thought they have in Nigeria will start diminishing gradually. So I will always advise people, ensure you have built solid structure and let there be a system that does not depend on you, right, solely back at home in Nigeria. Once you have that, you realize that while you're over there, you will even be an addition to them because the ideas that will be coming, the things you'll be communicating to them back home will make them richer and better. Secondly, because you have built something solid, it will be easier for you to go and come. It's not cheap. And I can tell you that it is not cheap. On the average, I go between Nigeria and Canada for not less than 8 times every year on the average. It's not cheap, the cost of flying and like that. So if you have not built something solid back at home, you might not be able to do that back and forth. Now, let's talk about the 4 intelligences that people need. The first one is spiritual. My own, and for some people, they might feel that's not relevant. But for me, it's very important. Yeah. And I'm not apologetic about it. I say it everywhere. Yeah. My mentor, I've mentioned his name like 3 times, Dr. Lumide Emmanuel. He will say, everybody uses something. Just know what you are using. Now, for example, if you're a Christian and you get out there and you just forget about God and like that, you might run into some trouble because there are things in life that you will just be left alone. And at that point, nobody, and I say nobody, will be right there with you. And you must be able to look up. Yeah, because at that point, the answer to what you are looking for is up. It's just up. I mean, some very dark moment. And people go through that when they move abroad. right? So spiritual intelligence, very important. I don't advise anyone to move abroad and forget about God. And it's easy. You know why? Most Christians back in Nigeria, they are transactional Christians. The reason why they served God while in Africa was because there was no economic power, no good road, no food, no. But all those things that used to be their prayer point, immediately they moved abroad. They just realized that everything is readily. You don't need to pray, and all of a sudden they lose touch. But if you have a solid relationship with your maker before immigrating, that relationship is what draws you closer. You still want to pray, you still want to fellowship, you still want to raise your family to know God, because you know that part of what shaped your life was the fact that you had a connection spiritually. So that is the number one. The second one is professional intelligence. Most times we see our people land in some of these countries and just join the bandwagon. I was still speaking with Jay. I saw someone on social media on I know it was on Instagram, and it was on whatever with that they freeze, maybe Instagram live, and the guy was saying it with his full chest that there is nobody, no Nigerian in America, eh, that has earns more than $5,000 every month. Even if you are saying there is no one that has $5,000 left after spending, it's still not true. The professional circle, that kind of person found himself. There's a reason why they talk that way. I know people, my younger ones, I know they work with Microsoft, with Amazon. I know how much they were paid. Some of them over $300,000 annually. And you are telling me they don't have $5,000. And there are so many of them like that, Nigerians. And I'm talking of people close to me, right? So your professional intelligence is important. There are things, there are kind of, if you even want to study, choose wisely. Ensure that you are in demand occupation. Places where before you even leave school, the jobs are waiting, or that can easily connect you to perfecting your papers if you want a permanent residence and like that. But some of our people travel and they don't have these things, so they struggle. If we move away, we need leadership intelligence. Very important. You see, they say if you are not sitting at the table, obviously you are part of the menu. The challenge we have mostly as Africans that immigrated is that we don't look out for how we can sit at the table. We only eat whatever they pass to us. We need more of our people thinking ownership rather than thinking loanership. So we loan our time, we loan our life, all because we want to earn money. And while we're doing that, we are not consciously thinking of how to better position. So how many of us are even thinking of joining politics in those countries? Very few. It's not even crossing our mind. And yet the opportunities are there, but we don't ask questions. And that's why the final one, which is the fourth, it looks the simplest, but that's the most important, is the social or relational intelligence. That's what helps you know what others don't know. We restrict ourselves to ourselves. When there is more to gather out there, how did I get to start hosting mayors of city if I've restricted my association to our people? That wouldn't have been possible. You know what it takes to bring that kind of person to Nigeria? You must have earned a certain level of trust. Last year also, I still brought an Indian immigration consultant. He has never been to Africa in his life. But there's a level of relationship and trust you'd have built for an Asian to, just follow you to Africa, and they are there with you for 4 or 5 days. So relational intelligence, our people need more of that. We need to get out of our cocoon and start talking to people in other communities. But we are not doing that so we can brag. We are doing it so that the lessons learned, we can bring it to our own community, collaborate, and make things happen for ourselves.
Tell me about your biggest disagreement so far and how did you resolve it?
For example, might be difficult. Let me give you a practical example. And I will just mention 1, 2, 3. Some of them look small, but they're important. About 12, 11 years ago, that was the first time we took our employees on all expense paid trip to Dubai. There were about 30 of them. and none of them has ever traveled out of the country. So somebody working with us, like an agent there, a part-time person, a salesperson, said, "Oh, I can help you package this trip." So we gave her the contract, majorly to buy tickets, and we paid her upfront for all of their tickets. And we had to travel 2 days ahead of them. We're in Dubai already, so we can prepare the place, expecting our team to come join us that particular year. And all of a sudden, they go to the airport, and Qatar Airways will not allow them fly. What was the problem? Qatar Airways requested that the credit card that they use for the booking of that flight must be provided. We never knew that the person we paid to was working with some guys that uses people's credit card to book flights. At that point, the decision was, if you cannot provide the credit card, you guys will not fly. And these were people that have never traveled. They've said goodbye at home. They were literally crying when we called, as in elderly people. Some of them with children, like, is this not village people? How will I go?
Finally.
Someone that they've got him at the point of,
Wow.
And I told wise man, I said, see, we don't have an option. We need to pay the ultimate sacrifice. We will buy another ticket for them, at least for them to fly. It was tough. We did everything possible to pay, and they allowed them fly. Now, they flew, it was still one way. So when they were going to return, right, we thought as at then the issue of the credit card would have been resolved. But immediately they landed, I told my partner, I said, see, let's forget about this thing. This is shit. Let's book another ticket for our team to return back home. And it was like, no, we can't waste that kind of money, blah, blah, blah. We're going back and forth on it. I said, let's just go ahead and book another flight. Now, as at then, let's say the flight was going to cost like, say, 150,000 per person. The first day went, we were still arguing. The second day, by the third day that it became obvious, and we're going to be leaving the fourth or fifth day, the ticket has gone almost 300,000, almost double. And yet this lady did not resolve the issue. So what we were supposed to buy for 150,000, we ended up buying for like 300,000 per person, because it became obvious that these people will not leave Qatar if we don't buy this ticket. Now, that was a business decision that costed us so much money. But at that point, nobody blamed anybody. Till tomorrow, I never blamed him and said, you see what you cost now? If you had allowed us to book it, that was it. It ended. Because he was trying to save us money. It wasn't like he was thinking from the angle, we can't resolve. Let's find a way to resolve it. I was trying to manage risk. He was managing money. So there are two. At the end of this, for the benefit of the business. So that's an example of a time where we had heated argument. But no, I've never blamed him. And I was like, you were the one that caused it, would have lost. No, it was our decision, and that is it. And there were times also where I've made decision. Okay, let me give you something as simple as what happened 2 days ago. Even here in London, right? We stepped out just to, where did we go to? I know on our way back, we needed to join that was the first day we came. We've not checked the closest bus stop here. But I knew that when we were going, we took Uber, right? I saw Abbey Wood, right? Yeah. But I didn't take note of the number. Okay. So immediately we got to and we saw Abbey Wood. I saw 472. I just said, let's go in. This is going our direction. And he said, no, let's ask the driver. I said, don't worry. It's our direction. I'm talking of 2 days ago. And he said, okay. So we got into the bus, and while the bus was taking us, I now put on Waze because it was taking longer. And I saw that this is not going in our direction at all. And I told him, I said, guy, we're in the wrong bus. Mind you, he told me that we should ask. But I was so sure that no. That's eventually we had to now take Uber again from that. But interestingly, when the Uber was approaching the house, we saw Abbey Wood coming bus, but it was 244. So actually, I saw the Abbey Wood, but not 472. It was 244. So the next day, we took. But you know what? He has not mentioned it since that 3 days ago. That, you see, you made us as simple as that. He did not talk about it. He did not say, "Oh, why did you?" That was it. Even though he warned me, let's ask. I said, "Don't worry. I saw this Abewood. Let's." So those are practical examples of times where maybe somebody made a mistake and both of us just see it as part of the journey.
Do you believe in work-life balance? And what's your own perspective about it?
Okay, there's no way I would say I wouldn't believe in work-life balance, because it's a nomenclature that has come into the workspace, and if you just make a blanket statement like that, um, your employees can even crucify you, because that's the language everybody speaks now. That life should not be about work, 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 work. Yeah, and from that perspective, I agree. But what I've always told people is that it is always good for your work to also be your life. If your work is your life, it will be balanced all of the time. You should understand different departments of your life. I tell people you must be able to structure your life and ensure you don't starve any. For example, one of the biggest errors that we make as entrepreneurs is starving our family life, at the expense of growing business. We stay away from them. We don't show care. We are not there for our wives, for our children. And at the end of the day, most entrepreneurs pay dearly for it. Now, because people like us understand that, we plan everything with our family. I'm on a tour now. I literally planned it with my children. They know everywhere I'll be traveling to and why I needed to travel. You know why? I was going to be missing my daughter's birthday because her birthday was March 25th, and we had to agree. And you know what? Because we planned together, she insisted she will not celebrate her birthday until when I come back. That she wants me around. Another painful one I'll be missing. Because we planned it together, she forgave me. She came the top of her school, the entire school, and they will be giving her an award at the, what's it called, regional level, and that will be happening in some 3 days from now. Yeah, and these are no, I'm not back. These are proud parents moment, right? When your child will get an award as the best overall student, and a picture will be hung there in the educational board office for the next 1 year, as this is a star girl for the entire, but we planned the trip. She knew about the trip before that announcement was made. So the day our principal called and said, "Sama, we have good news for you. We'll be making an announcement today. Your daughter is not aware yet, but by 2 p.m. there will be an emergency assembly, and we'll gather all the students just to announce her as the overall best student for the school year." So she's graduating. And we will be having a special celebration at the region on the 9th of April, blah, blah, blah. It was so painful. You want to be there as a parent, but we planned the trip together. So she shifted the birthday. The celebration, she said, "When I come, we're going to do it together again." So we have to be in their life. That's part of work-life balance, because we're doing all of this hustling, saying we're doing it because of the kids. And the moments in their life that matters, if we are not there and we don't show that we want to be there, it's going to be a big problem. So for me, that's an area. The other side of it is more of always finding ways to unwind, relax. And I think one thing I started doing recently that I wasn't doing before is finding time to sleep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Before now, I was part of those that will brag about I've not slept for. I've stopped all of those bragging. Now, anytime I see that there is deficiency of sleep, I create time to sleep. Yeah, and I've been able to train my mind to the point of nothing will happen, and if anything wants to happen, let it happen. I need to rest. I need 8 hours. I need 10 hours. And there are times I'll just decide 2 days I want to be away from work, and I'll call everyone that is important that needs to know and say, for the next 2 days, my phones might be off. I might not be available. These are difficult decisions, but I have to start doing it, because by the time you are, especially when you are aging, you start seeing signs. You don't want to wait until things deteriorate totally before you start attending to it. But apart from that, I tell people, guy, work hard though. There are stages you will be that if you're asking for too much comfort, you may never achieve what you want to achieve. So I'm an advocate for hard work. As much as I love work-life balance, you are not still at a level where you are still struggling and you are asking for 3 days off in a week and you just want to work 4 days. It's what they call sakpa in Nigeria.
So, what role has your wife or family played in your success so far?
Wow. I think one of the biggest blessings any man should ask for is having a wife that is supportive. Yeah, it's a big blessing. It's a big blessing. For me, that's what I've enjoyed from my wife. When you have a wife that you can be partners in everything. Hmm? My younger brother was addressing a couple the other day. He's in the US. So there's this couple always having problem. And when my younger brother was telling me over the phone, he said he doesn't understand how couples will not know that you have to be partners in everything. That even in crime, be partners in crime. Just being to the extreme. That you should always agree. It makes life easy. And I think that's what I've enjoyed. If I look at my trajectory and every phase of my life, I've taken some brutal decisions that if I didn't have a wife that is supportive, those moves wouldn't have been successful and I won't be where I am today. The move from where I was working, I said they asked those that wanted to leave Lagos then to go and start a branch outside of Lagos. We just got married, not more than 2 weeks. I said I wanted to do it. Can you imagine? So 2 weeks after wedding, we left Lagos, and she had lived in Lagos all her life for another state. We were there for like 3 years, and things were going the way I did not want. I told her again, let's return to Lagos. That decision was taken within 24 hours. By the third day, we were back in Lagos. I'm telling you, she just said, okay, is that what you wanted? Let's go. And she had started a business, though she had not opened a store then. We moved. The decision for them to move to Canada too wasn't our idea. It was my own idea. We've been traveling as family. Before that time, we visited Europe, America, everywhere. I've been to Canada and back. And I came back that particular trip from Canada and I said, would you mind going to study in Canada so we can use that as a route to attaining um, permanent residence and eventually get citizenship for the family? At that point, she has hung her boot education wise because she already had a master's and she was like, I've tried. And she was running a business. But for the love of the family and the fact that anytime I say, let's go this direction, she was, okay, is that what you want us to do? And that was it, right? She agreed and that was how she left with the kids, started her study program. But she knows one thing, that I will always be there, no matter what. That school, we went to the school together. We read the book together. We wrote the exams together. We did all the assignments together. She knows I won't put her on a journey and back down. No, no. But the fact that she always says, yes, let's go, has really helped because all of the times we have done that, we never regretted it. What if things had gone wrong? You know, but at least she just knows that if this guy says, let's go, he must have thought it through. Not every woman will easily move that way. Yeah. If I even shock you, there is the next big move again. A very big one again that we're about making. And she has said yes already. We have not done it. But she has said yes. You know, there are stages women get to that they even feel at this stage, you can't be telling me what to do. But for my family, it has been, she just knows that it's always for the best for the family when I said, okay, let's move. And she's happy. She's happy to do it. So that for me has been a major one. God has helped her also to work with me in raising the kids. I'm thanking God for our kids abroad. One of the major challenges people have abroad is being able to raise their kids right. I'm humbled by how God has blessed us with wonderful children that you won't believe they were raised over there. Yeah, they still have the African vibe and culture of respect, of family, of everything, and even spiritually, we run fellowship at the home every day. It's my daughter that coordinates it. So she's a pastor of the house, and we loved it that way and like that. So that's a privilege of God we have enjoyed, and I'm thankful for the kind of support I'm enjoying from the family. I've always been a fellowship person. And when I say fellowship, I've always loved God. Uh, those that knew me as teenager, if they tell them I won't end up being a pastor like okay, they tell you, no, this guy he has calling, But I was so sincere with myself about this calling of a thing. There is no time I had a calling that God said go and become. It never happened. So I decided to just be an apostle in the marketplace. This area that God has said I should go into, I decided to live my life to be a reflection of my faith. And that's why today, just by observing, there are so many people's lives that have been changed. Just walking around me, observing, and like that. So for me, spirituality is about fellowship. And I've ensured that I kept fellowship intact. That's what is most important. Because you get to a point that you are wondering, what do I want to pray for? Is it food? Is it water? Is it clothes, car, everything? If you have everything, so what are you praying for? If not, to continually have fellowship with God and trusting God that He empowers you to make impact, because life is all about impact. So that's why the kind of fellowship I have is such that it's more like part time. Your mind is tuned to the frequency of heaven through your spirit, and there are always instructions. There are crazy moves I've made. There are things I've done that I knew if God is not speaking to you, if you try those things might just end you. And there are times also that I've been in some very tough situations that I didn't have a choice than to look up and say, God, just tell me what to do, guide me. And He has never disappointed in those moments. And I feel it's because there is fellowship. That's why that it's possible. If not, I won't think of God in those situations. I'll keep looking for solutions elsewhere. So for me, spirituality is about fellowship, not necessarily the long hours of prayers or fasting. Fellowship. That's my definition of spirituality. What I always tell people about funds is you must first identify the purpose of the fund in your hand. And the identification, you can break it into three. Is it for short term, medium term, or long term? Short term funds should be basically emergency funds that you know that you might need anytime. For such funds, it is better that you put them in instruments that can easily be accessed. A bank account, it might be interest yielding, just a savings account. You can't do without it. Put such funds there, because opportunities might also show up that you will need such funds for. So that's the first thing. Now, there are medium term funds, and those are the funds that you should put in opportunities that present itself. And opportunities come in different ways. Firstly, it can come through investment in places like the capital market. I tell people, no matter how bad the market seems, there's always a time for you to come in. For example, if you look at what is going on globally right now, the market is experiencing all-time low. That's the US market. And whatever happens with that market, it's just a matter of time, affects all other markets globally. And if you're a young person, this is the time to look in that direction, because these funds you are putting in, you are willing to wait for 5 years for it to happen, right? So, but anything long term, please invest it in yourself. I keep telling people, invest it in yourself. It's either you are building capacity. If you're a career person, you want to ask yourself, what is that course? What is that new knowledge that I need to acquire that will position me better to earn more? If you're a business person, this is the time to start exploring with your own business. I've always shared my investment philosophy as always put your money, a bulk of your money, where your mouth is. No matter how much you trust me as an investment manager, if you have 100 million naira today, I won't advise you to give more than 30 million to me. 70 million of that 100 million, you should be in control of wherever that funds go to, so that you can make decision by yourself. If you put it somewhere and it's going down, let it be in a place where you can call it out by yourself. If it is your business, let it be in a business that once you see the sign that the business is failing, you can sell the business. Places where you're in control. If you put it in a place where you don't have control, and you won't even know until everything is eroded, and all you'll be hearing is stories. So any fund that is for long term, find a way to invest in yourself. People want to invest, but they are not thinking of themselves. They are thinking of other people. That's why you see that medium term where you have looked at maybe stock, shares, real estate, and like that. Those are investments that can help you create wealth, and you don't have to wait for 20 years. I give you an example. There are projects we did that just 5 years ago. I give you a practical example. We sold some properties for just, we started at 5 million. For us, it peaked at 9 million. The same property is selling for 60 million now, and it's just 5 years. So that's an example of opportunities for medium term. So some people are selling already at this 60 million and they are cashing out. There are others that decided not to sell. Maybe that property might end up picking at 100 million, right? But the guy selling at 50, 60 million now has not made any loss and has not made any stupid investment. No, it's not stupid. You can take that 60 million and look at the next opportunity. So for me, that's how I would advise a young person that has immigrated and you are making money right now. Split it into three. Always have emergency fund. Those are your savings, no matter how small. If you feel you are earning £2,000 and it's too small for you to save, even when your income moves to £3,000, you won't save. When it moves to £5,000, you won't save. From the £2,000, even if it's just 5% of it, start saving now. Once it becomes a culture, it follows you. You keep doing it. And that's the first place to start. So when you have saved enough, a part of it can move to the medium term. And when you have grown enough, maybe you did some businesses and it got you some good money. Please think of yourself first. And when I say yourself, invest in things around you. Start a business. Invest in growing yourself. Nobody can pay you the way you pay yourself. I can tell you that as an entrepreneur. No matter how much anybody loves you, they'll pay you 20 to 30%. Yeah, that's it. Today, if somebody tells you, give me money, I'll pay you 30%, you like it, it's a good deal. But the person can make 100 or 200%, and the person can lose all the money. People see money as cash in the bank account or what's it called, credit card or whatever. If you keep seeing money that way, your mind will always be telling you you lack it. Because in the real sense, you have it. You look at it, you don't have it in your bank account. So long you keep seeing that as money, right? Something keeps telling you that you don't have enough of it. You are poor. So every time you want to do something, rather than thinking about how to get it done, the first thing that comes to your mind is, I can't afford it. Because that's what your bank account is telling you. So, but once you get to the point where money is no longer the fiat, is no longer the credit card, is no longer the cash in your bank account, but value and how well you believe that you can create it, you just see something will change. So, if today I want to buy a Lamborghini, right? Rather than thinking that I don't have the money for a Lamborghini, I will ask myself, if I will need to buy a Lamborghini, how can I afford it? Immediately I send that signal to my brain. My brain will start telling me what to do, the positioning, the places to go. It might take me 60 days to buy it, but I will buy it. But if I look at my bank account before saying it, I will just forget about it. I will just tell myself, I can't afford a Lamborghini, and that will be it. So I wish more people can begin to think from that perspective and know that there is nothing you want to acquire or there is no height you cannot get to once you free your mind that you can. Yes, you can.
Tell me, what's one story from your life that you've never told before that practically changed how you see money, how you relate with money, how you create wealth?
Huh? Story never told. That might be difficult because maybe because I'm open minded. I tell a lot of stories about myself. I've been very magnanimous about sharing information. I hardly keep things except if I don't know. I tell people almost everything. If I don't know, I'll tell you, oh, this I don't know. I can help you ask, or I can refer you to someone that can help better. But if I know, I always tell. So that way, it's difficult for me to say there's a story about money, wealth creation that I've not told. But yet, I can tell one or two that changed my perspective entirely about money making and about wealth creation. And majorly, it was a point where I saw it looks so simple that nobody can pay me as much as I can pay myself. It was a turning point for me. And that was the point where I said, I would rather be an entrepreneur for life, no matter what. And that's what gives me the motivation to keep trying things every day. And that was the point, sincerely, when I realized that I love to work with people, but nobody can pay me what I'm really worth. So whatever I want, I'm the only one that can pay myself. So let me go and do things that will help me pay myself what I truly desire and live the best life that I want to live. For me, that was a turning point.